Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod. Welcome to my show. My name is Zach Jackson, and your host. Let's get right into it. So, guys, we have on here on Recap Monday, which is season 5, episode number 33 here on the Fire Sports Pod. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. Let's get right into the show I have for you guys today. So we got a bunch of stuff to go over that happened over the weekend, that happened last week, as well as also some scares we had in the NFL and some crazy ass games. And then we're going to also transition to the Ohio State and Oregon look like the top two most talented teams in the college football. I think Ohio State is the prime best team in college football. I think they're just proving it week in and week out. Even though they lost to Oregon, it was Oregon, and then Oregon almost lost to Nebraska, Wisconsin. I forgot which one team they almost lost to just a couple weeks ago. So that's pretty much that. So we're going to start with our first segments, and we're going to be going over some sports news here and there. We'll go to that. Actually, no, we're going to go to that to the back half of the podcast. Let's get right into what happened yesterday on Sunday night. I mean, Saquon Barkley absolutely went off. As you guys can see, I'm wearing the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to get to my Cowboys game in just a sec. But we have to pay homage to one of the best running backs in the game, and one of the rest might go down as one of the best running backs of all time if he continues this streak on what he's on. Dude, this guy's averaging 6 yards a carry. Last night, he just had 255 yards total on the, it's absolutely ridiculous on how good he is and how well he has revamped his career in just a couple of months, being traded to the Eagles from the Giants. The Giants didn't want to pay him. They wanted to pay Danny Dimes, and this is what they get. The Giants have absolutely nobody. They cut Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley is absolutely going off in Philadelphia. Now, it hurts as a Cowboys fan because we could have had him, potentially. Could have put the money in, had him. We could have had him. That would have been nice to see Saquon in the star. But he's with the Eagles. Hey, I mean, when you're doing backwards hurdles, when you're torching defenses for over 150 yards a game, when you're doing all that, you really can't argue with what team he's on. That just shows you how well the Eagles are, how well they're coached, how well their offensive line is, and how wasted of a career. He was already putting up big numbers in New York, but the fact that he's putting up even extraordinary numbers with an actual good offensive line just shows you how the 6 years that he was in New York, he wasn't even at his biggest talent. He wasn't at the peak. This year, he feels the most energized. He looks happy, and he looks faster than he's ever been. He looks bigger than he's ever been. So I think that Saquon going to the Eagles is the best thing for his career, and just in general, I think he's gonna put out a monster career for himself in Philadelphia. So we'll see what happens in the near future. But before we go, I just want to get you guys with some stats from that game because, I mean, he made history. It was the first person since 2009 to hit that 255 mark. So he broke it. And then on top of that, he shattered so many Eagles records last night. It was ridiculous. So let's just get right to it. I'm not even going to talk anymore. I'm just going to tell you exactly what this thing is. Saquon Barkley had one of the greatest nights for any player in 91-year history of the Philadelphia Eagles. No player in the Eagles' history rushed for 250-plus yards or had 300-plus yards from scrimmage in a game, until Barkley accomplished both feats in Sunday's 37-20 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. So no one has ever put that number on. So it's been a long time. 91 years the Eagles have been a team. No one has ever done it. He was the first one. Now, Barkley finished with 26 carries for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was averaging 9.8 yards per carry last night. He added 4 catches for 47 yards to finish with 302 total yards from scrimmage. He broke LaShawn McCoy's franchise record for rushing yards in a game, which was 217. and Deuce Staley's franchise record for yards in a scrimmage in a game in 262. Barkley became the first player in NFL history to have 250 plus rushing yards, 45 plus receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns in a game. The 255 rushing yards and 302 yards from scrimmage are both the 9th most for a single game in NFL history. So he just cracked the top 10. That just shows you how much more he could get in the history books. But that is still remarkable. Now, does Barkley look at when he's setting records? He said it did inevitably see his numbers prior to the setting of the franchise record on Sunday night. Not going to lie, I looked up and saw a replay of a run, and I saw I was at 173. Barkley said with a smile on his face, I said, I wish I never saw that. That's just him being him, but deep down, he knows that he really wanted that record. And the fact that he wasn't even basically what he's saying there is if he didn't see it, who knows what had happened before. But since he saw it, like the pressure was a little bit put on him, he didn't want any of that pressure. He just wanted the ball and keep balling and keep balling. But he did. I think, and this is coming from a Cowboys fan through and through, I think he's one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best. It's him and Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's been hurt all year. Derrick Henry's been slowing down a little bit. Saquon is just propelling, and he just keeps getting better, which is absolutely crazy to even think about. A player that can get better than what he's at right now. And right now, it's supposed to be like the greatest run anybody who's ever been on. So I think it's absolutely phenomenal for a running back to be in the MVP race. Like, we're not even talking about just offensive player of the year. He's in MVP type race. Because if you put him, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes will always be there, but he hasn't had a great season to be put as an MVP. But hey, if he keeps this up and eclipses 2,000 yards and he keeps averaging 6 yards a carry, he's definitely going to be the MVP. They're going to give it to him. I think the only 3 running backs, I think it was Barry Sanders, O.J. Simpson, and I forgot the other one. So he would be the 4th. Or the 3rd one is Saquon. I forgot what Dan Orlovsky said, but there's 3 of them. So he's in that upper threshold. So he's there. Saquon can definitely do it. He's just got to stay healthy. Knock on wood for him and the Eagles. Stay healthy. Stay ready to roll. And if he does, God bless everybody in the NFL, because Saquon is coming. And he's going to come for that MVP trophy. And not to mention, he might get the MVP trophy and they have a chance of competing for the Super Bowl. So you never know. He might get the Super Bowl MVP and on top of that, a Super Bowl ring. So that then his resume just jumps like 3 different sections. If he gets a Super Bowl, an MVP, and a Super Bowl MVP. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just wanted to let you guys know how historic of a night we haven't seen in a really long time from a running back. And his name is Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles. So it just shows you how good he is. And those 6 years in New York wasn't his full potential, which is crazy to even say, because I believe he won Rookie of the Year or Offensive Rookie of the Year. He run a lot. So he had a lot of accomplishments, but just the one that was elusive was winning in the playoffs, getting a Super Bowl, getting an MVP. Like, these are coming because he's got finally a good team around him. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for my first segment. We're going to take a quick short break, and we're going to transition to our second segment. Our upcoming second segment will be going over yesterday's games with the Dallas Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Bears. We just went over Saquon, but those 3 games, my Lord, and then Tennessee and Houston, those 4 games we're going to go over in depth. I'm going to show you guys because those games were absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what happened in all 4 of those games. It was ridiculous. It was like a 30-minute. Every couple minutes, there was something happening in each of those 4 games I just said. So we'll get right back to in just a sec. I'll be right back, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back like we never left. Let's get right into our second segment. We're going to be going over 4 crazy ass games that happened yesterday in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. So let me present my screen because my God, who would have thought? Dude, for the first time in a really long time, I picked against my Cowboys for bets. But then I also said at the end, hey, still rooting for my Cowboys. And we got to rep the Cowboys stuff when they get that dub. No matter if they get it or not, we still rep it because we a true fan. Commanders, what the hell are you doing? So let's get this straight. You can see Washington was up 3-0. Dallas ties it up 3-3 going into half. Then 10-9 end of the third quarter. And then, dude, there was freaking over 30 points scored. No. There was over 40 points scored in one quarter combined for both teams. 24-17 Dallas. So let's just show you how it went. It was 10-9 going into the fourth quarter. Dallas gets a touchdown to Schoonemaker to make it 17-9. Then Dallas gets a field goal to make it 20-9. Daniels drives down the field, scores it. They go for two. It's 20-17. They kick the ball off. Javonte Turpin puts on the Jets, literally like a drop step in basketball, went that way, spun the other way, ran 99 yards after he muffed it, picked it up, ran 99 yards for the tutty. We're up 27-17. All right, we're good. There's like 2.5 to go. We're good. We just got to get a stop. We're good, right? Nah. So they go right down the freaking field. Actually, no, my bad. We score that. They kick a field goal to make it 20-27. 20-27. We get the ball back. We go 3 and out. There is 40 seconds left. We are only up by 7. They get the ball on the fucking 24-yard line. And they launch it to Scary Terry 30 yards down the field. He catches it, runs right through our defense for the touchdown. One play, 86-yard tutty. Bro, what the fuck are we doing, Dallas? Tackle him. So we didn't tackle him. Dude, they got to kick the extra point. And they tie the game. We're probably going to overtime. They missed the extra point. Wide left. Bad low snap. Guy slipped a little bit. Shanked it left. Okay, 27-26 Dallas. Onside kick attempt. Bro, our guy goes right through the middle between all the defenders, picks up the ball, runs it 40 yards for the touchdown as the Cowboys win 34-26 to cap it off. And then they had a Hail Mary attempt, which got them to like the 4-yard line, 5-yard line of Dallas, but couldn't get it in. Thank goodness it just fell short. Dallas wins 34-26 and improved to 4-7. Commanders dropped to 7-5. They have lost, I think, 4 straight or 3 straight games. It's not looking good for the Commanders. Their offense is not looking good. Their defense can't hold down players, and their offense just can't score points. I mean, it was 10-9 going into the fourth quarter, and then they rock off 17. But if you take, that's 12. If you take away the Scary Terry touchdown, they only scored 10 points. They would have scored 20 points the whole game if you take away the Scary Terry touchdown. Just look at that. So the Commanders, Jaden Daniels was supposed to be this guy. Goffley, I still think he is, but he's having that rookie bang. He's getting hit, and it's locking him down. So what does he do to get past this? Now Dallas, they're coming from downhill, but Micah Parsons is still playing 100%. We ain't out of this. I ain't saying we're gonna make a run, but I am saying that don't count out Dallas these coming weeks because we still got heart. Do I think it's smart to keep winning? No, because then we lose a draft pick and we trying to get some good players coming in, maybe a running back, trying to get the guy from Boise State, Travis Hunter, something like that. But if we keep winning games, we ain't even be in that spot. So is it worth winning all these games to be bounced in the first round? Probably not, but we're still going to rock with it. And I like the way Micah Parsons ended that interview last night. Says, I'm not dead. I'm not off the team. We still rolling. No matter what, I'm still out there. We still playing to win this game. I got 20 other guys on defense that's trying to win these games and trying to play 100% effort. And that's what you got to have from your all-pro and your head of your defense. So that's great to see. Now, barring that, guys, we got to transition to our second crazy-ass game. And that is the Chiefs versus Panthers. For me, the Chiefs versus Panthers was a shock because coming off the loss that Kansas City had against Buffalo the previous week to drop their undefeated streak down to 9-1, you would think Carolina, they're going to blow the doors off of them. But Rex Ryan said it himself. If Carolina plays good and Kansas City doesn't blow them out, there's going to be a big problem. I think there's a big glaring problem. Their left tackles are really bad. They really are horrible at both of their tackles, the right and the left. They got to get that under the control. Their running game is not as spout because obviously Pacheco, hopefully he's coming back soon. But Kansas City just keeps finding ways to win, and that's the key thing. They gave up 27 points to Carolina. Carolina's 3-8. Yes, they Bryce Young, who hasn't played really well at all in his career. But dude, these are the Super Bowl time for these type of teams. This is their Super Bowl against Kansas City. They're going to play their hearts out. They are two-time defending champs back-to-back. They're trying to go for a three-peat. Every team's going to play their best ball against them. That's why they haven't blown anybody out. So I agree with Rex Ryan that there is a fault, but at the same time, if you keep on winning, you don't want to blow out everybody. You want to get going. You want to be able to be in these close games. So when it comes playoff time, you're able to understand that we're in these close games. We can push through because we got the best quarterback. On top of that, we got players that can make some plays. And good news, Pacheco should be coming back soon. And it looks also like, because I remember reading, it looks also like Chiefs wide receiver Marquise Brown could make season debut as early as Christmas Day versus the Steelers. So he's coming back along with Pacheco. That will help out their offense tremendously because they don't really have a number one wide receiver. Travis Kelce's getting older. Xavier Worthy's just a deep ball threat. Marquise Brown will be perfect to be put in there as their number one option. And then Pacheco, he's just a mean back, just wants to kill everybody and punch everybody in the mouth. So that works out great for Kansas City if they can get those guys back. Carolina, Bryce Young played amazing. Had one of the best game of his career. Looked like the number one overall pick that he was, the top guy from Alabama. He looked like that guy last night. And they almost won. They messed up like 2 times in the red zone, then they should have scored. They couldn't get the job done. But if you look, 10-3, 10-6, 7-7, 3-11. Carolina was in this game, man. They outscored Kansas City in the fourth quarter by 11 points. Just shows you how Carolina still got fight in them. They just can't get over that hump. But this was a great testimony for both Kansas City and then just also to see where Carolina is. I like their fight. So yeah, the Chiefs are done. Now we got to transition to another game that was pretty crazy, which is Bears versus Vikings. I mean, the first time in a real long time, all 3 of these things happened at the same fucking time. It was absolutely astronomical. You missed that game, you missed the golden one. Most definitely. Minnesota gets the win, a big win in doubt, a divisional game, final in overtime in Chicago, 30-27. Minnesota improves to 9-2. Chicago drops to 4-7. Caleb Williams has been playing really well. He just is. They should have won last week against Green Bay. They blocked the field goal. They should have won this week. I mean, you change the thing around. They're 6-5, 6-4. That's a different animal. 7-5. That's a different animal. But if you look at it, man, dude, they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. They scored touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal in less than 30 seconds in the fourth quarter to tie the game to send it to overtime. That is pretty crazy. So they got the touchdown to Keenan Allen on 4th and goal. They run the onside kick. It hits off the Vikings player's ankle, bounces right to the Bears. They go down, get a monster play right down the middle. 3 seconds left. Bears kick it. They kick the field goal. It's good. They go to overtime. They get the ball. They have a chance to score. They can't get it. The Vikings get it. And then the Vikings kick the field goal to win the game. So it just shows you the Bears are there, man. Next year, they're going to be a really good team, man. They're right there. I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams just yet, like I said. But, man, he's starting to turn the page with me, man. He's starting. I don't understand what all the hype was. Still think Jaden Daniels is the best out of the class. I would say Caleb Williams, then Bo Nix. Bo Nix is looking like he might be the best rookie of the year because he's putting up big numbers, and the Broncos are 7-5. They're rolling. So Broncos not easy out. Bears are not easy out either. They just have some unfortunate circumstances come their way every time they're in a close game. But Bears, man, this was a great game. Missed the classic if you did. Now, our last game we got to get to is the Tennessee Titans versus the Texans. I think of all these games, who would have thought? No, actually, no, that's bogus. I probably would say the Cowboys and the Panthers was a shock. This was just a shock on the way it ended. CJ Stroud is down by 3. He steps out of bounds in the back of his end zone. It's a safety. He pulled a Dan Orlovsky. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, no shame to my guy Dan, but man, I mean, I know Jimmy did it a couple years back, but this is crazy. When they showed it on First Take and Get Up with him, it was hilarious. But yeah, he definitely did. I don't know what's happening with CJ Stroud, man. My boy CJ has been having a regressed year big time. He is not the same quarterback he was last year. And damn it, I wish I had him last year in my fantasy because he was balling last year. This year I have him in my fantasy. He's playing like absolute crap. But Tennessee gets an upset win, improves to 3-8. Houston drops to 7-5. They're not playing their best ball. They had a big lead against the Lions. They dropped that. They didn't score any points in the second half. Same comes to here, man. They only scored 12 points in the second half, which is not actually, no, my bad. They only scored 10 points in the second half, which is not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for disaster. So they got to be better at that. But Will Levis of Tennessee just did what they had to do to win. CJ Stroud had a bad interception late. He ran out of bounds in the safety. There was just a lot of mistakes by Houston. Let's hope that they can get the ship rolling. This game was okay. I would say of other 3 games that we were much more exciting. It was just funny because he stepped right out of bounds just like Dan Orlovsky did when he was playing quarterback for Detroit. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for our second segment here on today's show on the Fire Sports Pod. We're going to transition to our third segment on today's show. So I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more action. Peace out, guys. All right, guys, for my final segment, we're going to be going over some sports stories. We got some news coming from the NHL where we had the Blues who fired their head coach, Drew Bainster, hired former Bruins coach, Jim Montgomery. So the Bruins fired their coach. The Blues picked up the Bruins coach, and the Bruins have named Joe Sacco as named interim head coach. So that was some news from the NHL. Thought you guys could know if you guys are out there. And I have some are some NHL fans. I certainly am. Rangers all the way. But man, it's funny. The one coach got fired, the other coach got rehired, the other coach didn't get rehired. Just shows you that just the way the NHL and the sports world goes. Okay, now a couple injuries in the NBA that we got to get to. Warriors guard Deontay Melton to undergo season-ending ACL surgery. So he's out for the entire year. He was having a pretty good year for the Warriors coming off the bench. So he's going to be out. That's going to hurt their bench stock for a little bit for the remainder of the year. We'll see what they do to replace him. They have a lot of depth this year, which is great for Golden State. So they'll be able to replace him then nothing in a jip. 76ers, Paul George, last Thursday hyperextends his left knee for the second time in a month on the same knee. He was already out for half the month with that knee injury. Now he's out again with the same knee for another extended period of time. So I don't know, man. I think it really might be saying to hang up the shoes for Paul George because he just can't stay healthy. He's not the same player. He even with being healthy back on that spot, he wasn't playing that well. He was playing pretty ass. I should say booty. He just wasn't playing the Paul George that we know. Which if he's not in that state, I think it's not worth even keep on doing it and keep on injuring himself. He came back from that catastrophic injury in the USA thing where he broke his leg, and he's never really regained his strength fully and his athleticism like he did before the injury. So he's just been rooted with injuries. So I feel bad for him, but at the same time, this guy's done enough for the game. Maybe hang it up at the next year or two because it's just getting a little bit hard to watch. And now we have Luka Doncic, who is going to be out at least 1 week with a wrist sprain. He suffered that. I mean, the narrative about Luka has been out there. He just doesn't play defense, and it sucks to say because, excuse me, because I love Luka. I think Luka's a monster. I think he's one of the best scorers in the league, but he just cannot play defense. He sucks on defense. He's a liability big time on defense, and it really shows when Dallas is in a very close game or really getting blown out, and they just really just go at Luka every time on the defensive end, which is not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for disaster. So they got to really get that going better. Now, Zion Williamson. I mean, it's like it never ends with this guy. He's again hurt. I mean, like I said, does it ever end with him? It really doesn't. I mean, they're out. They have a lot in injuries. It's pretty bad on how bad their injuries are. The Pelicans. I mean, you got Herb Jones, DeAndre Murray, C.J. McCollum, Trey Murphy III, Jose Alvarado, now Zion. They're all hurt. The Pelicans are just ass without those guys. I mean, it's just Brandon Ingram out there, and he can't do everything, obviously. And then our second to last NBA injury, we have forward Grant Williams yesterday out for the rest of the season after multiple tears in his right knee. It was weird because he went up for a layup against Giannis, came down, and then he walked, and then he fell, and he's a torn ACL out for the year. It sucks because him and LaMelo and the Hornets are actually doing pretty good this year. They're competitive, they just can't finish. LaMelo's playing out of his mind this year. Knock on wood that he doesn't get injured because he's playing phenomenal. But yeah, so Grant Williams officially out for the rest of the season with a torn knee, which kind of sucks because they really do need him. He's just a force. He's a guy that just goes out. He's like a little bit of a mini Draymond Green, I would say. And then Kristaps Porzingis. Expected to make season debut Monday, today, returning from surgery faster than expected. So we'll see if Boston puts him through a lot of workload. Probably not. Probably going to give him time to recuperate into NBA ready because he's been in with surgery. But he's a big part of why Boston won that championship last year. But at the same time, I think he's like Anthony Davis. He's glass. He just can't stay healthy at all. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I would also have to say, to let you guys know, for the NBA, the stars on the mend of returning: Kevin Durant, Ja Morant, DeJounte Murray, among injured all-stars set to return this week. So all three of those big all-stars for each of their teams. Without Kevin Durant, the Suns have been ass. They have not won one game. Ja Morant and the Grizzlies have been all right. DeJounte Murray and the Pelicans have been really bad. So 2 out of those 3 stars really need to come back ASAP for their teams so they don't get too put down in the standings. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. The last news I would have for you guys in the NHL is Capitals star Alex Ovechkin sidelined with fractured fibula, putting his pursuit of the all-time NHL goals record on hold. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks minimum timetable. So we'll see how bad it is, if he can come back in a relatively quick fashion. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for my show here on the Fire Sports Pod on Recap Monday, Season 5, Episode number 33 on the Fire Sports Pod. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. I will catch you guys on Wednesday for Season 5, Episode number 34 here on the Fire Sports Pod. One more episode on Friday will be our last episode of Season 6. I'm going to hopefully get some the people that I had earlier in my show, earlier in the beginning of my episodes that I had. I'll come back next week. So I'm going to email them this week and have them hopefully come on next week or the following week after that. So stay tuned. But I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy both the Hardball brothers playing tonight. Chargers, Ravens. Let's go Ravens. Peace out, guys.